with the expert on Dev TV. I have an amazing expert for you this morning. She has been a monitor and evaluation manager, a monitor and evaluation director. She's now a deputy chief of party in a large project in Kenya. I will let the expert introduce herself to you. Hello, welcome, expert. Can you introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Al Habib. My name is Judy Odongo. I have been in the development space for way over 15 years. I started as an M&E officer in a consultancy firm, and then I was taken on to an activity that was being implemented across Kenya, and there I worked as a M&E lead. I was leading the development and implementation of the M&E framework. This is for a market systems activity. From there, I moved on to another international organization, but implementing an activity in Kenya. And also there, I led the development and implementation of the monitoring activity for the first 4 years of the project before I became the deputy chief of party when the opportunity availed itself. I'm glad to be on Dev TV today.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's an amazing introduction. The one thing I really want to try and focus on before we get into the technical side of things is that is the role of monitoring and evaluation in an MSD project.
Okay.
How is it different in your view? How is it different from any other type of projects that you worked in?
Oh, wow. So before I started doing M&A in market systems activities, we would, do things like, there's been a training, report the training numbers, report those numbers, so much focus on the output. And also, I didn't quite participate in the development of, the indicators and thinking through the whole M&D framework. Now, in this market system space, first of all, you're just forced to do it. You're forced to think through because the activity doesn't come predefined. So it is developed, you develop it together with the people that are implementing it. And so you think through the what you're going to measure together, think through the measurement framework together, which is quite, I must say, different. The other things that are also different for the MSD kind of measurement is that you're working with private sector players. The kind of indicators here would have to resonate with the businesses. They would have to resonate with, making money, with growing the business. So you have to kind of wear a business hat, even though you're a development practitioner. And it's not just for the implementers, it's also for the M&D, because you're guiding the implementers to think through what will success look like. And so that is the other difference between this M&D and the conventional M&D.
No, thanks for that. So some of the things that, at least in my experience, some of the things I've noticed in different projects is that the way the role of an M&E manager and M&E director, in some cases, it's in the center of all of the implementation, or as a matter of fact, all of the project. And in some sense, in some other project, it's essentially like an auditor that comes in to audit whatever people have done. So people see them as police, and they don't consult them until there's a time to report. So I was just wondering what your experience has been, and if it's been one of those that people consider you as an auditor, what have you done to change the perception, or what are the things that you've done to change the perception of people, and how has that worked?
So this is a very interesting question. So as I get into one of the biggest projects that are participated in as an M&E person. We have to develop this M&E framework, which is, by the way, that is one of the things in M&E for market systems development is it's very integrated in the implementation. So I cannot even think through indicators on my own. I have to guide the process so that the technical people think through what it is they want to implement and what it is they want to see out of this. And so my role is a facilitator, pretty much. And obviously, of course, I will participate in the monitoring, but they have to do it as much because they're the ones who go to the field. So one of the biggest challenges is that while the M&D for MSD actually encourages that the M&D person is working very in tandem with the implementers are used to not having M&D as part of their daily work. And so they would push you away. You have to find a way to just show the value of M&E to them. And so initially it is a fight. Over time, you have helped them to be able to see, oh, this is what we are going to be looking out for in the field when we go. So when they come back, they report back, you use the data, you analyze it, show them what, the differences as they are working, ask them, so what do you think about this data? How do you think you can change the way you're doing things so that you even get better results? So they start seeing value. So one of the most important things is, as an M&D practitioner, demonstrate value to the users, to your clients, and they will then start to really give you space. They in fact get to a level where they are not they don't want to move without you. They want to move with you. But the other very important aspect is for the project management. If the project management buys into M&D and supports M&D, you have an easier time working with the rest of the people. If the project management is away, you really struggle. And so I have experienced both, where we have the project management working with me, and where you have the project management occupied with other things, so they're not very available to work with you, and the difference is so big. And so again, for project managers out there, M&D is very important. It's an integral part of telling your story, and so as much as you can, kindly support it.
Thank you for that plea. No, I mean it's always the truth of the matter really is the issue that you mentioned earlier, which is the value, demonstrating value.
Yeah.
And I've come across a lot of different M&E professionals in my time, and some of them genuinely like the policeman type perception that people have of them, or the auditor perception that people have of them. So they go around uh, almost being instructive to implementers, and very few M&E people that I've come across see the essence of their role being that you're shaping the way people implement by giving them the result of whatever it is that they've done. So if they have an hypothesis, you are able to exactly show them whether or not their hypothesis is going in the right direction or in the wrong direction. But the tension between implementation and implementation team and the M&E team, I really want to try and drill down on that. In your experience, especially when you were, say, an M&E manager, what was it that, aside from demonstrating value, what was it that was particularly useful uh, for you as a strategy to convert implementers, especially people in the field, to appreciating them coming to you, discussing with you, and walking through their logic with you, and so on? Is there a particular tool that you used or a particular strategy that you used that made that a bit easy or easier?
Okay, luckily for me, um, when we started implementing a market systems activity, it came with certain ways of doing it. And so, because all my colleagues and implementers also learning this way of doing market systems activity. So, just luckily, we were all on a learning mode. And so we would be trained on this is how you do market systems facilitation. So this is how you do M&E in market systems activity. So because of that, my landing wasn't, or the landing for the M&E team wasn't as difficult because we started together. So you will get a little bit of resistance because developing the M&E frameworks together consumes some time, and you can, and I can't do it as the M&E person alone. So I need my implementing counterpart. And so there would be a little bit of resistance because it consumes a lot of time. But because in a way it was prescriptive, it was part of the program design, we had to do it. I'm not sure what I will do if I have to do no in a different activity. I and it is this was a huge one, and the staff for many. And using my experience from the first activity that I participated in, here I couldn't do. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Here, I couldn't do the typical, for example, about the DCED standard for results measurement, which is one of the ones recommended in M&E for market systems development, or in M&E for private sector development. So that is what I used mostly in the previous activity. In this activity, I had to apply the principles of of the DCD standard and not actually go prescriptively through the step-by-step implementation of the DCD standard because it was just a different world. The staff for many, we had to get in and start doing work. We had to start implementation, and so what I innovated is think through help colleagues think through what is the logic of implementation. So what do you want to see? What do you want to see from these private sector players? So what are you going to do? And then from that, what do you want to see with farmers? And instead, we developed indicators together. But I had to be at the back of my mind very engaged and knowing this is the logic, this is how it flows, this is what is supposed to be, so that when we're thinking about indicators, I'm shaping them to think about the indicators in a very logical manner. So there is still causality. And so they have come to start appreciating how how I was thinking in coming up with those indicators. And so those indicators also then be feeding into the bigger objectives of the project, which when they now look at, they see actually that how we supported them to think really aligned with the project objectives, but we couldn't like do intervention specific, logics and you know and results chains. We couldn't do that because we didn't have time. um, it was too much to start training them, yet we are already getting into implementation.
Oh wow. Now, so that's at the implementation level. So now, as the deputy chief of
Yeah.
party in a project, you have risen to management level. Now, how have you, as an M&E professional, changed the way the management of your project appreciates M&E and how they use M&E in managing the project that you're with at the moment?
So the we haven't changed so much, um, because luckily, as the M&E, team lead, then many of the processes, including the knowledge and learning processes, were in my docket. And so, say on a quarterly basis, after we have done the reporting, or somewhere there in between, as we're doing the reporting, we'll together all the data. We'll come into a room, we discuss this data, we'll discuss what it means, we'll discuss even in we are in sometimes are supposed to report, give explanations, the narratives of why we achieved or why we didn't achieve. And so through that process, people start, appreciating the processes that we have put in place for M&E. And so next time they want to do better in that quarter, so that next time the story about what they have done is different. And this we have done quarterly consistently for those many years. Again, now the M&E data and information has been critical in decision making all the time. And luckily, again, in this space, the my senior is also has an M&E background, so they appreciate the M&E processes, and so we would together be working on how do we use this data, how do we use our M&E processes to better how we are implementing, to also even report back to the market, to the market actors, the partnering market actors, so they see how far they have come and what else they need to do. So it's made it easier now, because I'm in this position, and I'm guiding the technical work, including M&E and communications. So now, it's just part of my daily, things, and my daily inspirations for people to live, for people to embrace communication knowledge management as a way of life, as a way of doing better development.
So would you say then, as a prerequisite to be at the management level of a market system development project, it's important for people to, at the very least, have an M&E orientation, if not be an M&E expert? Would you say that should be a requirement?
I think you lose a lot if you don't have the M&E expertise. What if you're doing M&E properly? If you're an M&E expert, you become almost the knowledge hub, the institutional memory of a project or of an organization, because you have the 360 understanding of everything that is happening. Because like when you're doing the reports, you have the technical part, you have the M&E communications, you have even the finances, that all go value for money, everything in that report. You have done it again and again and again. There's just so much that you have already, and so it places you in a very good place as a senior manager, because really you understand the entire project in and out. um I think, personal opinion, as opposed to if you were leading just one component or just the other component, very well, you're deep in your component and not so knowledgeable about the rest of the component. Again, it depends on your personal initiative. If you have a good personal initiative, you will be able to understand all other things. If you're this person that just focuses on what you're doing, then you're disadvantaged. And an M&E person is already very advantaged for being central, for having a 360 view, and so they would easily then land into those positions where you are overlooking everything in the project.
Fantastic. No, thank you very much. My view has always been that in any project, all implementers should have quarterly, if not yearly, if not quarterly orientation on M&E, because I think it's important to drum that into implementers' head, so they can really appreciate the value that M&E provides. It's a dashboard for your progress. But now I want to just
And
change.
that's also,
Go on.
sorry, that's also one thing that has helped me and my M&E colleagues through M&E journey, is that periodically we organize M&E inductions with the entire project team, including even non-technical staff like operations staff. Just participate, so they appreciate this, and that helps. when you're saying, okay, I need more M&D staff because of this and this and this, everyone understands. And in all cases that I have been in my M&D space, when I go to leadership and say, I need this resource and this resource and this resource, they would give, because they have understood and because I have taken initiative to always just, you know, induct them or bring them up to speed and make them see the value.
Excellent. No, that's. I think that's central to success in the business that we're in. So I just want to change the gear a bit. Now it's about your personal journey. Um, so there are people watching this that are, some of them are just leaving university, some of them are junior in the development sector. Now they're seeing you, they're looking at you, you've risen through all of these different positions to get to the pinnacle of project management. So what would be, no, perhaps what I ought to ask is, what was your journey like? And what are the specifics in terms of things that you've had to deal with, and what are the strategy that you adopted to manage those situations so you can continue to rise through the ranks as you have done?
Wow, that's a that's a question that requires 5 days to respond to, but I will try. Um, my training is in, my bachelor's is maths and chemistry. Um, sorry, technology issues.
Yes.
Yeah, my bachelor's is in maths and chemistry, and then I did a master's in social statistics. So math oriented. Somehow that is why I landed in M&E because of the data. But I didn't just land here. So I started as a pharmaceutical representative. That was my first job. It was stressful. It was it was. I think that time I perceived this is a job for men. It's really stressful for me, but maybe it was just me. I couldn't cope. So when the opportunity came, um, I jumped ship within a pharmaceutical institution again, but I went to do now. I went to monitor a clinical trial. So it starts to put me in the M&E, space, a little bit. It's a clinical trial, so some research there, following subjects and things like those, and that lasted a short while. Then I was out, and I was jobless for a bit, for like a year. And then I met, and here is my first very important point. I met a man, an old-ish man, who had been in development for some time, consulting for development projects and things like that. And he just saw the potential in me and decided to mentor me, and so gave me a little bit of project work, programs work. But because of my strength in data, then I started, honing in on M&D, and making sure reporting is done, making sure data is available, helping my colleagues understand M&D frameworks that we have been given by our then, development partners, that will be our clients. And so one very important thing is that mentorship. Is that if you're in a position to hold someone else's hand, please hold someone else's hand, because you could just be shaping their destiny. So that was very, very, very helpful for me. And when there was an opportunity for an M&D person in a bigger project, he fronted me. And so that is how then I land into proper M&D, and especially M&D for market systems. Um, I appreciate this great man. I don't want to say his name, but if he's watching this cast, he would know. Um, so I joined this project. I met another man again, who just believes in me and gives me the opportunity to do my work and supports and encourages me through this process. Again, luckily, who was in leadership, so understood why M&D is important. So supported in the process a lot. We developed the frameworks. We inducted people. We trained people. When I was facing challenges here and there, they would come in and just support to message the importance so that there is more compliance, there is more people who want to start taking on M&A, to see M&A as a valuable tool in implementing their work. And one other thing that is very important, people, is do your work and do it well. Commit yourself and just do your work irrespective of who your teammates are and whether they are supporting or not supporting. There are just many days when I had to stay in the office long to make sure that I have delivered my best. Maybe my best was not the very best by all standards, but I put in my best, and that would always be appreciated. And that gave me platforms to rise. It gave me platforms to move to the next level. Okay. And so I was there for a long time, leading processes. We did very well, had our challenges, but did well. I was there for many years. And then the opportunity to move to, again, another project with a different donor also, came through. And again, if you do a good job, people will, sorry,
It's okay, we can hear you. Carry on.
if you do a good job, people will give reference of your work. So where I am today, how did I come here? Is that a colleague of mine from the previous project, came to me and told me these people are looking for someone, and I don't want to take a full-time job. And I thought, who else would do that job other than you? So it proposed me. I went for the interview. They took me. They were very impressed. In my current job, there has not been a time when I'm really haggling for growth, or really disgruntled and talking to my bosses, why aren't you promoting me? It has come organically, and it's just because of the way that I work. And so, young people out there, put in your best, have a very good attitude, support others, be there for others, be there for the organization. Look at this as if the organization has failed, you have failed. Don't let things fall through the cracks. Sometimes they will, because you're not. Do your best, because it rewards. It does reward. And so my coming up, even to the level that I am, my work has spoken for itself. And I am a woman, and I'm a mother. And so I have all those other responsibilities. But together with all other responsibilities, that has been my mantra: do your best. And it will speak for you, it will propel you, it will speak for itself, and people will see and people will want to work with you, because when they work with you, there's a likelihood of success. You contribute to their success.
Fantastic. I mean, thank you very much for that inspirational answer. So, if I get this right, you mentioned mentorship, you mentioned hard work, you mentioned collaborative engagement with your colleagues and organization. You mentioned making sure that you don't get distracted and you think of the work that you do alongside the objective of the organization and the project. Those are the elements that you think has helped you rise through the ranks. And if you focus on the job will speak for you, and the returns will be progression through the ranks of the organization and of the sector that you work in. Would that capture what you've just explained to us?
Absolutely.
Thank,
I think you summarized it very well.
no, thank you very much. I know I've kept you longer than we originally planned, but thank you very much for sparing the time to talk to us, to inspire us, and hopefully somebody watching this will get inspired and do exactly as you've done, and hopefully make as much progress as you have made. So thank you very much for coming on Dev TV, and hopefully you will come back again and speak to some of the issues that we briefly touched on.
Thank you very much, Al Habib, for the opportunity. I hope someone is inspired. I hope the young men and the young women who want to walk through their careers are listening and they're picking something. And the other thing is that you don't just move from A to Z. It's a process, and so you need to be patient. um, yeah, that is also just my parting shot, but I am happy to come back and talk some more on other topics that are, helpful to the society, um, to myself, and to other women like me, but also to other men out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, there you have it. That's Judy has really walked us through exactly how she got to the position that she got to, the level of hard work that she has put in, and how hard work has led to really good fortune for her. But more importantly, though, what I like is the ideas she shared in terms of what strategy M&E professionals can adopt to really engage with the implementation team and with the management of projects so we can begin to achieve things that we're mandated to achieve by our donor and help the people we're supposed to be helping. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. It'd be really good if you can make comments on some of the issues or some of the strategies that Judy mentioned. So thank you very much and see you next time.